The next thing I would like you to focus on or give you an option for is, I say here to make a goal, okay? And it's on this sheet of paper, make a goal. Say you have a goal of focusing, we're gonna get all our addition facts done. Then we can work on our subtraction facts. Then we can work on our multiplication or wherever your child is. Now, granted, every child, if your child has a learning difference that makes it much harder, I do not want you to panic. But if your child is in the elementary years or even in 8th grade below, I would focus on making sure those facts are available to your child. It makes it so much easier once we get into the higher math. I will tell you, this is a side note. I was tutoring a boy recently, precious, precious boy, in a private school here in our area. Lots and lots of money that these parents are spending. I was floored at how he didn't know the basic math facts, and yet he was being pushed and pushed and pushed farther along in higher level math concepts. Well, that was so debilitating for him, and what he was doing was just trying to get through the math lesson to take the test, totally forgot it because he doesn't have all the basic foundational skills. It made math so much more stressful. It absolutely killed me to think that a parent was paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for a private school, that he was just still being pushed through and not being given the foundational skills that will serve him well all the way until he could do calculus. So many of us think we're bad at math. We're not bad at math. We just weren't given the time or the intentional instruction in the areas where we had gaps in order to make that progress. You will be shocked at how little time it takes to actually master your facts. If you do 5 minutes in the morning after breakfast or while they're eating breakfast, hey, if they're sitting down at the table eating, flash those cards in front of them or roll a die and add whatever fact you're working on. Roll 2 dice. And so if you're focusing on adding the 8s, if you're focusing on the doubles, which would be like 4 plus 4, or there's the doubles plus 1, 4 plus 4 is 9. I'm throwing out a lot of information at here. If we were working one-on-one, I'd be very honed in on your specific situation. Kind of grab onto what works. I'm giving you what I have. And then we could maybe tailor this at some point later. There's also another website that I refer here in this sheet that I will give you access to. There's a website called matthewc.com. It's a phenomenal homeschool curriculum, but they have a free drill section. And what's really nice about it is it's not just scattered all over the place. You go to their website, you'll go to online resources. It's very self-explanatory, and you'll pick the facts you want your child to work on. It's only a couple minutes long, but what's nice is they have an image on the screen where they combine blocks that represent, if you're doing 9 times 8, and they give you images. It gives the child extra tools, like a visual tool that represents the math problem. They are trying to do it quickly, but if they're struggling, they'll have a tool there to help them get over the hump and get the fact. Focus on one step at a time, especially if your child is struggling in any area of math. If your child is resistant to any type of learning, any schoolwork that comes home and your child is crying because they can't do it and they don't remember, trust your child, they really don't remember. They could have been stressed out in class, okay, during the time when that was taught. They could have been embarrassed, they could have been overwhelmed, they could have just checked out for 2 minutes. Let me tell you, girls, this week has been a lot of me mentally checking out because I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I kind of shut down or I kind of freeze. So if your child is resistant to anything, let's figure out where's the gap. What is he or she missing? Oh, the reason she's having trouble carrying is because she doesn't know her number bonds. They need those foundational skills to make it easier for the child to know, okay, now we've got another 10, we need to move over into the tens column. Foundational skills are crucial. Always ask yourself this question: what's the gap? What are they missing? Why are they struggling? What's happening? Start asking yourself these questions. Ask your child, what are you having trouble with? Start teasing through. When you find the tiny little gap, you'd be shocked. If you spent just a little bit of time intentionally focused on that specific area of learning, you'll make huge strides much more quickly than if you try to skip over it and try to plow through. If you try to plow through, your kid never gets what he's missing, and then it just makes math terrible or reading or writing terrible in the future and more stressful. So matthewc.com is going to be a great resource for online math, facts, and math drills. And I always stress this: short increments of teaching. So short chunks over time yields fruit. Ladies, we live in the day and age when there is so much information. Yes, it can be helpful, but it also can be stressful. If you go to something as simple as Teachers Pay Teachers or go on I caution you against Pinterest because that might be too much information for you. But there's always a way to kind of hone in on a particular issue. When you know what the problem is, You just need to spend a few intentional minutes having conversation about that. So you can always come in and ask in this group. There's a lot of experienced homeschooling moms that have been there, done that, and they would be willing to help you. If you're doing your multiplication facts, okay, a lot of kids just hit a wall. They get to third grade, they have hit a wall when it comes to multiplication facts. They hate math because they don't know their multiplication facts. There is a phenomenal resource called Classical Conversations app. Classical Conversations is a homeschooling curriculum. It's an amazing homeschool organization. It's based on the classical model of education. One of their best resources is their skip counting songs or their multiplication fact songs. When you use anything to song, you are more likely going to remember it. Think about that song that you haven't heard for 20 years, but you're in the grocery store and you hear it, and everything comes back to you. You hear the song, you remember the words. There's a part of our brains. God has designed us so amazingly, so uniquely. We have multiple parts of our brain that work together to solidify memories, whether that's a memory that brings joy, whether it's a memory that helps you remember basic educational facts and information. But the Classical Conversations app is phenomenal. It is ridiculously expensive, but it's so worth the $15. I highly recommend if your child is struggling at all with the multiplication fact. We have been told a lie in our educational system, and it's nobody's fault. No one tried to do it in a bad way. I have my master's in education. I learned this myself. This is nobody's fault. This is no judgment. But we have been told a lie that tells us that memorization is bad. It is not bad. It is such a gift. I say it's a gift from the Lord Jesus Christ that we can memorize things, because we need to memorize things for a number of reasons. Math facts especially. If you do choose to use that app with the skip counting songs, it's another tool in your child's academic math tool belt. I cannot more highly recommend it. If your child in general knows their math facts, but maybe they're struggling with fractions, focus on fractions. Don't focus on a bunch of new topics. If your child is stuck on fractions, I want you to focus on fractions. So I'm going to put a link for an awesome fraction manipulative. Again, go to Teachers Pay Teachers and find whatever grade level your child's in. Maybe even, I would recommend, go to the grade level before your child and just practice fractions, different ideas with fractions. Ask for help. If I was working with you, I would be very, very specific. We would tease through where the problem is, and I'd plug you in and I would lay it all out for you. But for now, always focus on one goal at a time, especially when you're dealing with new or hard material. Now, going back to this one goal at a time, we have an opportunity to really take this time and capitalize on it. Remember, school in a traditional setting, you're there 6-7 hours a day. So much of that is wasted time. Not wasted that it doesn't need to happen, because it's a system and they need to run. This is not a judgment of the system. But what I'm saying is, it's not academically efficient. Think about how much one-on-one time your child is actually getting in a traditional setting. This is not a poo-pooing of it, but what I'm trying to say is you can be very efficient. You do not need to have a panic attack when you've only been doing school for 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, and 15 minutes there, and you've only done 45 minutes to an hour of school today. No panic attacks. Read books, do puzzles, play math games. Do not feel like you're not doing enough. I promise you, if your children, if you pulled them out of school right now and you just read books with them and worked on basic math skills, got a basic workbook and just worked through basic skills, your children will be that much better off, because they'll have somebody working one-on-one with them, identifying where the struggles are. Here's my last tip for tonight. When you teach your child something and the next day they tell you they forget, it's not because they're being lazy. They really do forget. It's not streamlined in the brain. Just remember, learning is a process. It takes time. It takes layer upon layer of information. My biggest number one for you for tonight and tomorrow is take a deep breath. This is a big change for everybody. In fact, I probably would say just focus on one subject right now. Just read books and have fun with your kids and focus on one subject. Maybe just focus on math, okay? For those of you that are more concerned about language arts type things, reading, writing, all that kind of stuff, that you're worried that your child are going to get behind in that area, just spend some time reading. But I promise you, this is an adjustment. Every year when you start homeschooling, this happens, I've been doing this for a long time. This happens with all of our moms. And just even in the traditional school system, we start them slow. This is an adjustment for everybody. All your kids, their extracurriculars are gone. Their socialization are gone. Even my homeschool kids, they have activities all week long. They are not sitting at home all day. They have so many different events and things that they do. My kids they're not doing them now. My oldest had like a nervous breakdown earlier today along with her mom, and that's okay. This is an adjustment. You know your child's capacity, but if your child is resistant, focus on creating a new rhythm, a new routine. Enjoy each other. This is a gift. This is a gift. This time is a gift, and I'm preaching to myself here. So I'm going to have all my notes here. I'll put a link in the notes for this. If you have any questions, just PM me. You've got this. This is a blessing, and I am the first person to know I need to get my head in the game, because my little boy, he's usually at TK for 4 hours a day at our church preschool, and he's not, and my husband's home, so things are different, and so we're all making adjustments. Give yourself so much grace. And when the world is telling you to, like, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you don't know what you're doing, you're not a teacher. That is the biggest load of you know what. Yes, you are a teacher. You are your child's primary teacher. A person that loves and invests in a child and spends just a few minutes trying to tease through what the problem is, and then comes alongside them and says, hey, I'm in your corner, we're going to figure this out together. That is a game changer. You are your child's teacher, and I talk about this all the time. Co-learn with your child. We will circle back to structure later this week. Let me know what your number one priorities are. Ladies, I just want to encourage you, and I'm just giving you what I have. I don't have it all figured out, but I'm giving you what I have, and I am honored to walk alongside you. Grateful for every single one of you. Talk to you soon. Bye.